Hey, old Dan here with Rock and Hunt. Hope everybody's doing okay today. I am doing just fine. Today we're going to be looking at this guy right here. This is a slant cab machine from High-Tech Diamond. And so we're going to just take a quick look. I never used this thing before. So we're going to do the setup here. And after the setup, we're going to use this guy for the first time. And let's get to it. So what you see here is what the machine comes with. Actually, it comes with one less of those. I'll just describe what these are really quick. This is like one of the main grinding discs. It's 180 grit. And then they got 4 smoothing discs that it comes with. The brown here is 325. Followed by the red, which is 600. That's grit. I'm sure you guys all know what I mean by just saying the numbers. It's the certain grit size. And then it's the blue disc. The blue disc is 1200 grit. And the orange disc is 3000. Now, I believe it does come with all 4 of these. Might be mistaken, I don't know. So it also comes with one of these sponge pads. And the sponge pad primarily is for the polishing pad, which takes this paste stuff, diamond paste. And this is 14,000 grit right there. So the idea is you squirt this on here, put it on one of these backing plates and like that. So I did contact High-Tech Diamond and ask them a little bit of, about just various things. And they said you don't really have to use these if you don't want to, the sponge pads with the polishing pad. They say if you want to just do like flat work, you should not use this. This is for when you want, the smoothed domes, stuff like that. Apparently, you can get the smooth dome effect even without using this. Just as long as you learn how to use this the right way and you can figure it out. So, I did purchase one extra sponge pad, and I also purchased the 80 grit wheel. I suggest that you get this. From what I was told, it takes if you're going to just go with the 180 here, it's going to take you a lot longer to grind it down to the place where you can start using the smoothing disc, and that it is better to go ahead and purchase the 80 to go along with it. These are backing plates. We're going to put these on our discs here. So let's go ahead and take our first disc out here. So I also picked up this guy right here. This is the HDX, whatever that means. But anyways, it's a big reservoir, so instead of filling up just this little bit of water and having to refill it, you can fill this guy at once. Connect the tubing to here, and we'll show that setup after a little bit here, and then you can polish and polish for a lot longer. So let's go ahead and put these backing plates on these discs. We'll start off with the brown one here with the 325 grit. So I did go ahead and purchase an extra disc. It's the purple one, which actually comes before this, does not come with the kit. And so I should have that in a couple days. And that purple one is the number 220. This brown here is the 325. So you start off by taking this off of here. I thought it'd be stickier than that, but I guess it's not. Then you get your backing plate. It will appear to make this very easy, but you pull this guy off, and that's not sticky either. So hopefully the other side's sticky. We'll put it on there. I'll get some glue or whatever. Get this on there. And you want to make sure that these center holes are lined up as perfect as you can. So I kind of using my fingers here to get the edges, and now I'm going to work my way here. Now I'm not sure if this is going to actually stick on here because it wasn't very sticky, but it might work. I'll put something heavy on it. Now let's go ahead and go on to the red, which is the 600 grit. And I'm hoping this one's going to be a little stickier because this is making me a little nervous. And movie magic. All of the paper things are peeled off of the backing plates. You know, it was really hard to get that stuff off. Shredded up quite a bit. So I'm just going to take a paper towel and try and wipe off the undesirables. Take the red disc like we had before. Titch. It's a titch better than the last one was as far as stickiness. Let's get this guy put on there. You have to get as exact as possible. Otherwise, if it's off center, you know, the disc is going or like that. I don't know if it actually makes that sound, but you know, if it does make a sound, it probably is going to be like that. You can guarantee, I guarantee you, it's going to make the sound, okay? So you just expect that. So that one's done. All right, now for the blue. The blue is, there's the blue right there, and it is 1200 grit. Hardly any sticky stuff to that. And the question is it going to stay on? Who knows? And now we got the orange right here, which is the 3000 grit. That's the smoothing disc. I'm going to go ahead and, looks like I got actually an extra one of these, but I'm going to go ahead and put this on the polishing pad. And I am not going to put the rubber thing on there. I'm going to try to see if I can go without that. just like that, we got our polishing pad on. So, you got your grinding disc, you got your smoothing disc, and the polishing pad. Alright, we are going to catch up with you in a little bit, and we will start setting this up with some water and do our first grind. Okay, so we're getting ready to do a few rocks here. These guys right here. This I found by the Mississippi River, just a weird green rock. And then I got 2 halves of this prairie agate. It's the first agate that I ever remember finding. So we'll start off by putting the discharge holes on. And now let's go ahead and put our 80 grit wheel on. Now let's go ahead and get the water going. There's a little nozzle in here that you can put the end of this hose on. Yeah, it's funny because they included this Allen wrench, but I don't see anything here that would take an Allen wrench. I just want to test this here. All right. We'll start off by pumping this guy up. And let's turn this guy on and see what we can do. Well, first of all, I almost forgot, respirator. Now when it comes to wearing the respirator in these things, a lot of people don't use them. Of course, High Tech says to use them because they don't want to get sued or anything, that if you don't, and they told you not to use it, you get sick. But anyways, I'm going to use it. Alright, let's do this. So I'll put these grid lines on here. I've seen this on YouTube. Basically, once the grid line is taken off by the grinder, you're ready to go to the next wheel. So I think we're ready for the next wheel. Let's go ahead and take this one off. At least I'm hoping it's ready. I'm going by what the people said about putting those grid lines on the rock, so I guess we'll see the end result if I'm doing it right or not. Okay, so we're going to do the 180 grit now. I just dropped this rock and took out a big chunk out of this, so I don't know if I'm going to polish all of it because that'll take quite a while to get down to there. Okay, so next is going to be, now they call this purple, I call it dark blue, and this is 180 smoothing disc. Not sure why, but I can't seem to get rid of the grid line right here. Other places it seems fine, but it's getting a polish. And there's some blue stuff coming off of the pad and staying on the rock. So I'm going to go ahead and install this brown disc. This is 325 grit, and let's see what it does. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to the 600 grit wheel, the red one. Okay, now for the blue disc. This is 1200 grit. And this is, one moment, 3000 grit. So I don't know if that's going to take care of these grid lines either. I'm not going to put grid lines on the last two. There's one more after this, and that's just the polishing wheel where you put that paste on. So I'm not going to do any grid lines this time. So on this wheel they had me put some 14,000 grit paste on, those little pink spots. And well, let's go ahead and put this on there and see how much of a difference it makes on the rocks. Here we go. Looks like it has scratches, but it's actually just smear marks. I'll give a final close-up on these. Hey all, Dan here. So yeah, we got through grinding those couple of rocks on the slant cab, and I ended up throwing away the green one just because it's just not the type of rock that polishes well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the one guy. We're going to do a close-up in just a minute. Well, let's take a look at these rocks here. I guess just the one rock. We are going to look at this other one though, but that's just for comparison. So there we go. Here is, I was told that this is a prairie agate. Yeah, some shine to it. Now I found that you have to hold on to these rocks really nicely when you're doing the cabbing, or the slant cab anyways. This is not a cab, this is a flat work. If you don't, your rock flies off and breaks. So if you don't hold on to it nicely, that's what's going to happen. Now, comparison though, we have this tumbled agate, or actually the tumbled piece of jasper, and it is very much better than the agate shine.